What is going on? You are watching and, of course, listening to Tags Live, aka Talk About Gay Sex, the live edition, where we are here every Wednesday, hump day. I am your host, Stevie. This is episode 495, alongside house sitting for me in New York, Kodi Maurice
Yes.
Doggette. How the hell you doing, Kodi?
Hello, darling. I'm doing wonderful. I'm in the lap of luxury, darling. I
If you're
feel
talking
so
about my place, I don't know about all
fancy.
that, but
No, it's great. It's fantastic.
I love it. Yes, you are in my place. Thank you for house sitting for me.
Anytime, darling. Anytime you
I
need a house sitter.
Anytime I am back in my second home, Puerto Vallarta. I think I've mentioned it before. My sister has a condo here. We're really excited about it. It's super humid, but it's amazing. I love it. It's very lush right now. Everything's green.
Mm.
And I will be doing a site check visit at our 2023 Vacaya, Mexico resort in Puerto Vallarta. I'm doing a site check next week to check it out because we will be live November 1st doing Tags Live on property. And the dates are October 29th through November 5th. We want some of you to join us because it would just be fun.
Oh, yeah.
And you'll be at our show. There's a red light district. You'll be in Puerto Vallarta where there's so much activities. There's Halloween going on. We're going to have a costume party. There's all kinds of events on property that are going to be going. It's all inclusive, and you guys can get up to $200 off if you go to the link, go to TAGSPodcast.com and click on the link 2023 Vacaya Resort Mexican Vacation in Puerto Vallarta. And it's the final week that you can also enter our giveaway. We're giving away one trip away. So it's the final week that you can enter. We'll give one away. But really, if you just want to nab a spot and join us, get up to $200 off. Use our promo code at checkout. And the promo code is TAGS, TAGS. Up to $200 off, October 29th through November 5th. We want to see a lot of you there. We're excited.
I'm so excited. I cannot wait for this trip. It's exactly what I need. And I'm going to be there with you and hopefully a lot of listeners. So it's going to be fantastic. Yes.
Well, we are live, and it looks like Brendan is in Puerto Vallarta right now. Is that
I
true? Did I read that
know.
correctly? Hey, I'll be out a little bit later going to, oh, what place am I going? La Noche for a drink.
Oh,
Yeah, we're going.
good for
So the beauty of
you.
when we do the show where Cody's at, it's 9 o'clock Eastern time. I'm on Central Time, 7 o'clock. So I'm done at 8, and we're off to dinner after this. So it's always fun, like when you're on the other coast, right? Or when I'm
Oh,
in
yeah.
LA, it's super fun. So, well, we love a listener response, and we want a lot of you who are watching us live to weigh in. But a week ago, we gave advice to a listener by the name of Adam, and Adam was essentially saying that he would really like to be able to go out. He's in a relationship, yes? Yes.
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah.
Adam is.
Adam,
Yes.
essentially, just to refresh your memory if you missed it, was essentially wanting advice because he can get aroused with people that he meets and spends time with, not
Hmm.
necessarily friends, but if he spends time with you, he can totally get aroused. Where he wanted to actually get aroused is with going to a red light district, like we will be
Yep.
in Puerto Vallarta, or going to a dark room or a bathhouse. And he was having he's not able to currently get aroused. It never happens when it's anonymous sex, and he really wants anonymous hot sex.
I mean,
So we
it's
gave him
good.
advice. I'll let you listen to that episode, but we do love it when some of you respond back. And we had a listener that had some advice. Kodi, I know you have it on your end. Do you
I
mind reading
do.
parts of it?
Yes. Paul says, "Hey, Stevie and company. On episode 492, you responded to listener Adam, who had issues performing and playing with others he does not know. This resonated with Paul, and they often experience the same thing. They know personally that they struggle with some insecurities, so having a sense of trust or a bond with any sexual partner helps them feel more comfortable and perform better. For this listener, it's always been a hotter experience. when they've chatted with a guy for a while and feel like they know them as a person. They find it more challenging to relax and let go with total strangers when they're in their head wondering if they are into them, if they're judging them, or they think that they're going to accept what works best for them in a friends with benefits dynamic. They currently have a partner and they've been together for 19 years, and he wants to give Adam some advice. If Adam is still wanting to experience groups or cruising with random guys, this listener would recommend going with a few partners he's comfortable with. They've done this, and having familiar faces and friends around helps with some of that anxiety. They were still able to have fun and even fucked a random guy in a sling, which is super hot. So thank you for writing in, Paul. That is such great advice.
And you know what just struck me that I didn't say on when we were actually giving advice is, so for example, when I go to a cruise bar that I go to in New York, one of the things that I love about it is I can hang out with certain people at the bar, chit chat, and I love chit chatting with people. That
Yeah.
actually turns me on. Oftentimes, the people that I have fun with, Kodi, are the ones that I'm talking to, and I get to know them. Whatever I'm getting to know about them, it actually accelerates and turns me on more. And then we can go to the dark room, then we can go to a bathroom stall. And so it can work that way. But I love the advice that Adam's giving, that if you actually go with your friends or people that you already have an attraction to, they could probably get you more into it. And the last thing I'll say, not to shamelessly keep promoting Vacaya Resort 2023 Mexican Vacation at Puerto Vallarta, but you will be on the resort getting to know guys all week long. The red light district will be happening every single night on a boat, and you will get to know them. And then when you see them on the boat, you'll already have had a conversation with margaritas, maybe sun tanning or in the pool or at the Halloween party. And then you'll be like ready to do it on the red light district boat.
Sounds like no issues to me. Sounds like everybody should be there. It sounds like they should get to know me so we can all just have a good old time on the boat, baby.
Exactly. So thank you for that. And thank you for the listener that wanted to also give some further advice, because really well done. Thank you so much. Okay. We could not do this episode without talking about Laura Ann Carleton. You may have all heard by now, she had a true ally, you guys, a true ally.
Yeah.
She had a store, I think it was called Magpie.
Magpie, not
Magpie.
I can't let you say MAGA.
I know. Magpie.
Yeah.
She's a heterosexual woman, children, but had been, you probably already know, she had many flags outside of her store, but one of them was the LGBTQ plus pride flag, always in front of her store. A lot of people in the San Bernardino area had issues with it throughout the years. Anytime they would take it down, she would put up another one. And sadly, last week, she was a person came and was essentially wanting to take it down and was yelling at her to take this flag down. She argued with them and said, no, this is my flag. She wanted her store. Her daughter was on CNN recently and saying that she wanted a place that welcomed everybody. And sadly, she was gunned down by this horrible person. And, she's no longer with us. And it's like, Kodi, when you hear we're talking about a true ally. She didn't have to put this flag up. She wasn't one of us that if you and I had our little boutique, of course we'd wave our flag. It's natural that we would want to. I'm wearing our TAGSPodcast t-shirt right now with the flag on there because I have an LGBTQ plus podcast.
Yes.
She did not have to do this. She doesn't even have children, as far as I know. In fact, she doesn't.
She has 9 children.
But none of them are of the LGBTQ.
Oh, okay. I see.
Yeah. And so the point being is she's not a mother of. She's not somebody in her close circle. She did this because she's a true ally. She wanted a safe space for everybody to feel welcome. She had other flags up, and to see her gunned down like that, and to hear her daughter, it's tragic, it's senseless. We need to honor Laura Ann Carleton
Yeah.
for as long as I'm alive. I want to continue
Hmm.
to just shout out that name because she did not have to do this. And do you know, Kodi, that her daughter said on an interview that essentially when she was gunned down, she was already had a flag in the mail that showed up at their doorstep,
Wow.
waiting in the package still, because somebody had already ripped down one of them, and it was just crazy. I mean, what did you think when you heard this? I'm just turning my air conditioning on, but go ahead.
Okay. All right. I couldn't even finish the interview with the daughter because it was just so heart-wrenching. I will never ever understand senseless acts of violence like these. We have people getting stabbed. We reported on this last week of a stabbing in London, people getting shot, like a Miss Laura Ann, people just because people want to live in their truth and really just live their lives authentically. And it's just mind boggling to me. For someone to take someone else's life because of a difference of belief, and you're entitled to your belief, but we should be able to coexist peacefully. It's just audacious, and it's just too much for me. It's heartbreaking, and mostly because, like you said, she was a true ally, but also because she had such I could tell just by the pictures and the accounts that I have heard of her that she had so much joy and she was so cool. That picture in the mountains,
Oh,
I was like, "Mama, I want to know you. I want to be you. I want everything. You are amazing." So, I just it's just heart-wrenching, and it's another example of why hateful rhetoric and fear-mongering is so destructive and how necessary gun laws are due for a strict revision because things like this are going to continue to happen and they should not be happening. We
yeah,
should be able to coexist.
exactly. Malibu watching us live, the store Magpie. If you happen to be in the San Bernardino area, visit there. There's vigils happening right now as we speak. Also says she was murdered over her pride flag at her store, period. And her murderer was killed by police. Yep.
Yes.
I mean, yeah. It's and when stuff like that happens, Kodi, and the murderer is killed, I'm always like, ah, it because I want them to understand whose life they actually took away and how worthless your life really is and how you will now pay. And
Yeah.
we don't even get that at, at this point because he also was, he was trying to run away and the police shot him.
Yeah.
But it's almost like no justice. I mean, yes,
Yeah.
he lost his life, but what a worthless life. So anyway,
Yeah. He
our
should be under
hearts
the jail right now. So, yes.
our hearts, prayers, thoughts all go to Laura Ann Carleton and her family, just thinking of you, and we'll
Yeah.
continue to think about you.
That's right.
Okay, we are moving on to actually artist that we've talked about in recent weeks, and I'm talking about country artist. He actually wasn't a country artist initially; he was a rap artist initially, an emo rap metalcore singer who went by the name of Jake Hill at the time. Well, we've been talking about Dixon Dallas recently, and all of his songs that he's been dropping that have references to, like in Good Looking, Boosie Lovin', he talks about all kinds of gay sex in the last two singles. Well, he just dropped a brand new follow up to the song, and the new song F-150 just dropped. Let me read you a couple of the lyrics. And
Please do.
he says, well, when we get to sipping whiskey and we get a little frisky, I climb up on him, ride him like an F-150. Nothing but my boots on, baby. Let's get down on the floor or out in the shed or maybe by the lake, then bring it back to your bed. He got me singing when we got sipping whiskey, and we get a little frisky. I climb up on him and ride him like an F-150. Okay, Kodi.
Those are some good lyrics, baby.
I want to jump
Okay.
on. I don't even know what an F-150 is, though. Do
I
you?
think it's a plane. I'm pretty
Maybe we should have
sure.
looked that up in our
I
meeting at the
know,
time, but
right? I'm
it
Googling it
sounds
right now.
like sexy, and I want to
Oh
just
no, it's
jump
a
on it.
car. It's a
Oh, it's a
truck. Oh my gosh. We really have no
We
idea.
really have no idea.
This is
Everybody
so
is
sad.
commenting on, but we got the point that it was something big and large, and
I mean, I got the general idea. I
you
thought
know,
we were
and
going on a plane ride, but
the
okay.
hilarious thing about all this is that I'm not a car person. I never have been in my
Me
entire life. Give
either.
me a train, a plane, I'll walk. But
Not an automobile.
cars, I went hiking the other day, and my friend is an avid driver, loves to drive. I got into it. I actually got into it. But typically, I'm not a car person, but I would jump on something if I was into it, like an F-150.
Hey.
Hey, so what do you think of Dixon Dallas's and his slew of gay sex tunes?
I mean, do I like country music now? Because I think I might be a country fan because of the song. I mean, JK, I used to live in Kansas. I am a country music fan and always have been. But the thing about this is that kind of alarmed me. The people in the comments were saying that he's straight and this might be a mockery of the gay community. So I was kind of taken aback and I had to kind of take stock of things, but it's a bop and it is really good. I didn't like the first song about the pussy, but this one I really, really enjoyed. So it made me a little bit horny too. So I can't really judge him for that. As long as he keeps making music that is positive about the gay community. And he seems really genuine. I watched a couple interviews with him,
Yeah,
but
and
I,
to your point of the interviews and what you're saying on some of the comment section, I do think that's a little bit of negativity that people always love to troll.
oh yeah.
What I will say on it, he's done interviews with out.com, not just any outlet, out.com, with a prominent gay reporter. And he did that interview seriously, lovingly, and opened up about the music and what he was putting in. He didn't say he was gay, straight, bi, anything like that. But I think if you were really pandering to a certain audience, Kodi, you
Mhm.
wouldn't take on interviews and be very serious about the interview with gay outlet, in my mind. So I just think at whatever motive he is, the music's
Mhm.
good. This is where he's at right now. Hey, I don't think he's queer baiting in my mind. We'll
Yeah.
see, but I don't think so.
Yeah,
Um,
and like we've said before, you can't judge somebody's sexuality just by looking at them, and you can't identify somebody's sexuality just by looking at them. So they have to do that for themselves. So the fact that he is not coming out, it doesn't really make a difference to me as long as he's not clearly making a mockery out of the gay community. I'm okay with that.
exactly. So we'll keep reporting on him and see where this goes. Let's stay on music though for a second. And
Okay.
one of our favorite artists, at least one of mine, Maluma. Maluma has a brand
Mm.
new album coming out Friday. I actually downloaded the first few singles and it's really good.
Yeah.
Well, yes. And he's going on tour August 31st. And, he's no stranger to posting thirst traps. He has the perfect answer in recent interviews to why he takes so many damn hot thirst traps. Well, whether he's soaking up his abs, smiling in a pair of boxers, the Colombian superstar knows how to strike a provocative pose like it's nobody's business. And when asked recently by E! News why you enjoy putting those types of pictures out there, this is what he had to say. I just enjoy being me, that's me, 100%. I'm real. That's the thing that I do every day. I mean, maybe he takes pictures all the time. And he says, quote, the days that I show how I am, people are like, I don't know. They feel excited about it. But it's just the way I am. I feel real. I trust the process. I trust myself. It's not like something where I think, oh, I should do this. I should do that. This is going to be the great picture. No, I just put the phone up whatever, yo guys, boom, boom is what he said. And I'm kind of here for that answer. I mean, I think if I look like Maluma, I would also have the camera on me
Oh, baby, you're
24/7.
beautiful, darling. You
Well,
know you are.
I need my lighting and I need certain things. And I think there's a true answer to what he's talking about. I think this is Maluma and he's just being him. I think he's Colombian, he's Latino. I think a lot of us of certain persuasion feel that sexy vibe. If there's
Oh,
a
yeah.
group going on, we immediately get into it. I mean, it is part of being the Latino experience, a part of a lot of cultural experiences. And what did you think of his answer? Because you yourself, why do you post so many thirst traps on your Mr. Maurice?
I did not expect that to come out of your mouth, but I live for it. First of all, I want to say that look, Maluma's hot, and I am happy that he's posting so many thirst traps because that is only a feast for my eyes, and I'm glad that he's doing it. I hope he never stops. As for me, and I post a lot of thotty pictures on Instagram. I'm a thought post it connoisseur at this point, and I have been criticized for posting those pictures before, but you know what? I say for me personally, that is what I would like to put out there on social media. As long as I'm not hurting anybody, as long as I am not doing it for the reasons that I feel could be detrimental to my self-esteem. Because at the end of the day, I do think that these posts have only helped my self-esteem and they've only encouraged me to live a more healthy life. Then I think it's actually okay as long as you keep all those things as far as social media and the things of that nature, the pitfalls of social media in perspective. You were going to say something?
I was just going to say, I hang out with you beyond knowing you only in a social media standpoint. And I can say, hanging out with you, you have a very confident persona that you put out there.
Thank you.
You're very confident, and I think it's infectious when I'm around you. And so you are a lot like the pictures you put out there. It's not the only Kodi I know. I think what's interesting about like what Maluma does, or what, some people you only see them in an Instagram moment and they're like coiffed and perfect.
Yes.
In Maluma's case, he's putting out music that he's revealing his soul and all kinds of lyrics, and you're hearing his voice. You also were on this show, and so even though you might be smoldering in the picture earlier today, now you're going to hear Kodi's giggle, and you're telling a lot of personal stories about yourself. So depending on the outlet, you are yourself, but we are all different in different persona outlets and depending on the medium. And so I think he's right when he says everything that he's saying about this is me. It's him when that's how he's feeling. But this is us when we're on the show. So
and like you said, and more to your point, there are layers to people. We are not one thing. So maybe on Instagram, I am a thirsty, thotty, smoldering, beautiful, magnificent person, and I know I am. But you know what? They're multifacets to me. They're multiple facets to me, and I'm intelligent as well. I know this. I am caring as well. So I just say, be you, no matter what.
Like I said, we're live, and going back to Dixon Dallas, Bryce says, regardless, Dixon Dallas is a businessman and knows that gay men will buy his music if he doesn't reveal his sexuality. The allure brings in money. Jake Andrick is a perfect example. Okay, I love that. Brendan says, we love Thought Kodi and Sexy Stevie. Oh, thank you so much. Keep those comments rolling in. All right, well, moving on to some health news that we could all use. Prostate cancer, there's a new prostate cancer study that's basically suggesting a simple 10-minute way to significantly reduce deaths. I read this story because I am a person of a certain age, and every year now when I go get my blood work, Kodi, and I have, it's called a PSA test. It's a blood test, and it's looking at the potential of prostate cancer, if those numbers can be elevated or not. And oftentimes they've thought throughout years that that's how you could predict if you have prostate cancer or not. Well, it's proven unreliable over the years and is getting a new study, University College in London Hospital, to do an MRI scan instead,
Okay.
and actually showing a little bit more true results if you are in danger of having prostate cancer. And what I thought with this article, I'll post this because it's a whole thing to read through. But what I got from the article is if you do this MRI scan, it's actually a little bit more predictive and can
Okay.
see if you are in danger before it actually spreads to other parts,
Oh,
because the
wow.
PSA haven't been that thorough enough.
Hmm.
And what they were saying in the article is if you find that you have early stages of prostate cancer, you can actually, it's treatable. But it's when it gets
Oh,
too far along and it spreads is when there's a problem. So I'm on a new insurance plan. And when I go in December for my new checkup, I'm actually going to see, hopefully, if I could do this MRI scan to
oh,
see,
wow.
because I mean, if it could be a little bit more thorough and we could predict, wouldn't you want to do it?
Oh, yes, 100%. I think that this is a great thing. And look at us being doctors. I mean,
Well, we're quoting studies, but
yeah, no,
they're
okay,
progressive
close enough.
studies. They're progressive studies for our sexual health, our health in general.
Yes, I agree with you. And I think that this is great. And I think that we are definitely in a space where we should be taking things like this into consideration and really evaluating our health, because your health is the only thing, is the most important thing that you have in life, to me personally. So I think that this scan is going to be very helpful and to so many people out there in the world. And as soon as I am able to get it, then I'm going to be getting it, and I'm going to continue to do my testes, checkups, and things of that nature, and just try and be as healthy as possible. So I'm glad we're reporting on this.
Yeah, we'll try and get a urologist on the show sometime soon in the fall. And as you've noticed, we have had a lot of guests on the show in last weeks. And, it's that end of summertime where we're going to be gearing up in September with all new shows and all new guests. So definitely, yeah, Malibu watching us live right now says Tags Urgent Care is now open. Okay. Thank you so much. I love it.
Oh my God, we could be on Grey's Anatomies for sure.
Oh God, I've never watched
Okay.
one episode of that, so I don't know
Never?
what you're
Oh my
talking
gosh,
about.
Steve, we could do it. I have
Oh,
faith in you. You could be
okay.
Dr. McSteamy and I could be Dr. McDreamy.
Hey, okay, I like it. I'm with it. But I think you're gonna like this next story. This one really caught my attention. I was like, "What?" Let me read it to you. So there's this fetish out there called free use. Free use, y'all. And it's apparently sweeping the gay community. And essentially, what it is if you're in a relationship and you have a discussion, a free use fetish is essentially the desire to be sexually used by a partner anytime. So when you would work this out with your partner, Cody, essentially free
Hmm.
use. So let's play this out. Let's just say you and I are in a relationship
Okay, good.
and we wanted to keep it spicy and simple. And I said, let's have a conversation, Cody, about free use. So whenever I want, and given, say
Wait,
we have
why I gotta be the used one?
well, you could do it too,
Yes,
but
okay.
we
Oh,
would,
we could have a mutual free use.
yeah.
Okay.
And the
I'm
idea
down for
is
that.
when I felt horny, or you felt horny, but let's just say it was me, and I was saying, when I felt horny, I could pull this free use card. And let's just say you just got home from work, you were a lawyer, you had a hard day at work, and you poured a glass of whiskey, you were listening to Dixon Dallas,
All
put your
right.
feet up, and I decided to crawl up on you, rip off your shirt, and play with your nipples and suck on them. You would have to let me do that, provided it was within the framework that we had decided. So, for example, some of the free use fetish stipulations are
Hmm.
obvious things that you wouldn't do. So, I couldn't go up to you in a public space and open up your zip down your pants and start sucking your cock. I couldn't do
Yes.
that because so we would do it within the confines of our home. Let's just say we lived together, but you would have to go along with it because I was feeling that moment and I had free
Yes.
reign. And what I would imagine on free zone, free use fetish is that maybe there's periods when I have the card, the quote unquote free card to use that
Okay.
for a period of time, and then maybe you would have that free
Okay.
use card at a different time. Otherwise, it would be I think it wouldn't really work if we both had the same card at the same time. Do you understand? Maybe it could work.
I
It
think
could work.
for me personally, I love this, and I think that it could really, really work because if both partners had the free use card, because I know that in a relationship, sometimes sex can be put on the back burner for so many different reasons. Career, just things, everything in life, it can go to the back burner. So I think that this is a way to spice up your life, spice up your sex life, and really show your partner how into them you are, and that you are really you want to be sexual with them at no matter what. And I understand that there are times that you are not going to be as you're going to be a little bit reluctant to have sex with people. So I think that just like with many kinks, a safe word is something that needs to be incorporated with this. Say you had a burrito, and burrito can be your safe word. So I think that that is something that is great for this type of kink, because I know that there are times when I just do not want to have sex, but having that kind of sexual energy thrown at you, I think that that's incredibly hot. And I know that it can really do a lot for a lot of sex lives out there. So I think that
And here's what you're saying
this can be
about
really
the free
amazing.
card, like the burrito term that you're saying. I think that you get so many of those that you can pull, but you're using those at only when you just couldn't do it. Like, let's just say you had a migraine and
Yes.
you're in that free use period. I agree with you that I think it can really keep relationships going and dare I use the word force you to get into the mood, even if you weren't feeling it and your partner was. There's been one, I had a friend recently, Kodi, that told
Uh-huh.
me that he was dating this guy. He had a fetish. It was a fetish that I actually share with my friend. And he went to do this fetish with the guy. They were actually in a sexual moment. In other words, they
Okay.
wasn't free use. They were both turned on. And my friend went to, okay, it was feet, right? He went and the guy like pushed him away, kind of like, no, don't, I don't want to do it.
Oh,
Or he had already let him do that fetish in the past. And to push somebody away when you're in a sexually aroused, both of you can be really detrimental to the person that is expressing their fetish, that, by the way, was welcomed in the past. And now all of a
mhm.
sudden you're pushing somebody away as if, like, get away from me kind of thing, like a pet that you don't want jumping on your lap kind of thing. It's like, no, I'm not your pet. Don't push me away kind of
Yeah.
thing. And you can really push somebody back into their shell and their fetish when you do stuff like that. I feel like with this free use fetish that we're talking about, it's kind of like, you know what? No, I gotta get into this. And I might not, they talk about it in the article. It's a worthy article to read. I'll post it on TAGSPodcast.com, reference
Mhm.
episode 495. But essentially, it is basically saying that if you're not really into it, that's okay. Maybe you won't get hard that time, but your partner's, climbing on top of you and he wants to just play with your nipples or make out with you. You know what? Get into it. I'm
Yeah.
for this. I think it's it could save a lot of relationships. It's kind of a cool thing. And I think,
Yeah.
like you said, with the safe words, I'm here for it.
Me too. Me too. I completely agree with you. I think that it can get a lot of people out of their comfort zones too, because I think that personally in a relationship, I have been rejected for sex, and it is so detrimental to the relationship and to the sex in the relationship. I let it affect me way too much. And I think that this is a way to overcome that. And I think that when you are put in a situation that maybe you are not necessarily in that mood, if you get outside of your comfort zone, then perhaps you can actually rise to the occasion. And I'm gonna use that as a pun and a double entendre. And you're
Okay.
welcome.
I love it. Let us know what you think about this new fetish. Maybe it's not even new, called free use. We want to hear from you. Again, that article will be up on TAGSPodcast.com, episode 495. Moving on to an equally juicy topic, I think. We had to talk about it. Gay
Yeah.
guys recently were giving tips on going from, get this, promiscuous to monogamous. So going exclusive, as they write in the article, can be tough. And one very promiscuous Reddit user wanted to be in a one-on-one relationship with a guy. And he was asking a forum recently, essentially, in the post, he said, the user in question says he's leaving a life of threesome saunas, one-night hookups, and clubbing for a monogamous relationship with someone he likes. And now he wanted some pointers. So he clarified that he and his partner have similar libidos, but he was worried he'll get a little wandering eye and go down a path of poor choices. Quote, I just want to know if there are other guys who are very promiscuous and went into a monogamous relationship successfully. Okay, I think anyone listening to this show is probably one of those guys. If you're concerned about temptation, don't put yourself in positions where you'll be tempted. One user wrote, cheating is the result of a series of active decisions. It doesn't just happen. So this one really struck me because we've talked a lot recently on shows where a lot of us guys, people in general, are looking for more meaningful connections when they have sex. And this guy sounds like he's had a lot of fun hookups and promiscuous fun sex, which is
Yeah.
awesome. But now I don't think you should ever live in fear, would be my advice. So
Yeah.
if you're really connecting with somebody, it can be anything scary. It's like you're jumping off of a cliff, but you'll never know how great this could be. And I say that go for it. Maybe talk about some of these things to your partner, that I'm really into you. I'm really drawn to you. I want to keep having sex, but I'm a little worried about this. Chances are your partner might be on the same page too, and you can go through this together. Maybe down the road, you'll decide that you'll have another conversation about opening the relationship up. Maybe you won't, but I don't think you should ever be afraid if you're really drawn, based on the topics that we've talked about recently about connective type of sex and
Yes.
relationships that I think our hearts are all really drawn to, that you should really worry about it.
I hear you. And I kind of disagree with you just a little bit. Because I think that what this person asking themselves these questions is a really, really good thing. Because for them, I do think that when they're asking these questions, it's because they are having these fears. And I think that this type of self-reflection could only benefit them in the future. I agree with you that I think that they should talk to their partners so much more, because communication is the ground that a relationship is built on. And I do think that as long as you're open and honest with your partner and you are self-reflecting, then you can only win, honestly. I've been extremely promiscuous and gone to a monogamous relationship, but I was ready for it. And it was so amazing for me. And because my fantasy was to go out there and do so many freaky things with one person. So
Yeah.
I think that when you are not quite sure about if you want a monogamous relationship or if you're ready for that type of commitment, that the only thing that you can do is reflect with yourself and talk to your partner. And that's the best way forward.
I 100% agree with you. And if there was ever a theme on this show 6 years later, it's communication, communication, communication. Whether
Amen.
it's in a sexual moment in a bathhouse or a dark room, or it's in a relationship, or it's a new relationship, what always comes down to the more honest communication you can have and talk through some of these things, that don't be scared. 9 times out of 10, people are going through the same things that you are, and they'll appreciate your honesty, and you can work through a lot of these things. And it can be really an exciting time to be that honest with somebody. But I applaud this person for putting it out there, but I wouldn't want them to miss out on something that could be really amazing
Right. And it is.
connection, that they could go down this road that, I think relationships, I was thinking about this the other day, and I haven't in the last several years been looking for a relationship. I think that when you're looking for it, it's just a lot of work and time. But I have been struck times when I have met somebody that I wasn't planning this, and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden, and then I want to know more, and I want to spend more time with this person, and it can be an exciting period. But we, like our co-host always says, Lincoln, we are adults, and I think that adults can figure stuff out, or at least, like I said, communicate, communicate, communicate.
That's right.
And
That's
you
right.
can never be faulted for expressing yourself. So,
Ooh, I want to do a slow clap on that. Thank you so much. I just want to read some comments. Bryce says, you can be promiscuously monogamous. The pizzazz in bed never needs to change. And I completely agree with that. And also Nicholas says, communication at all stages is key. Once the promiscuous starts to tempt you, again, talk to your partner and do not hide it. Again, great advice. So thank you guys so much for sharing.
Love it. Okay, we've got to move on to QWERTY's been doing these great reviews of films that have come out over several years, and talking essentially on why we should be revisiting some of these classic films, or films that had to do with our gay community. And one of the films that they are reviewing this week is the classic controversial film Cruising. Kodi, did you ever see it?
I watched it. Yes. I actually really enjoyed it.
It's a really great film. What came out in 1980. Cruising starred, oh gosh, who is
Al
the actor?
Pacino?
Al Pacino.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
And
I got it
Al
right.
Pacino goes
Woohoo!
undercover because apparently there's a murder happening in New York City, and it's happening in the gay bars, and particularly the BDSM clubs. And what I can tell you from an insider word is they filmed a little bit at the Eagle, a place that Kodi and I go to. And
Oh,
actually, I
yeah.
actually think it was the original Eagle, to be
Yes.
honest. So it was the Eagle that is not, if you come to New York City, it's not the one on 28th Street. It was the one that was a few streets below 28th Street, and they filmed it there, I believe. And don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure that's what happened. And that's kind of exciting. Well, the writer wanted everyone to know why we should revisit it, and they entitled the article, "Controversial as it may have been, the erotic thriller Cruising captured something true about leather bars." Well, you might ask, what did they capture? Well, it was criticized at the time, because it's been 4 decades, Kodi, because of placing a gay character as a murderer, which that alone can be like, really, we're murderers now? And so
Yeah.
it wouldn't work today, I don't think, at all.
I don't
But
think so either.
it did capture the underworld that was the BDSM club. And part of what they said was Cruising faced a lot of backlash from the gay community when it was released for the way it linked fetish with violence. And the director discovered his own repressed desires, with implications that he may have been involved in the killings. Sorry, the main character. Paired with rising anti-gay sentiments that were about to be compounded amid the AIDS epidemic, it's easy to see how this movie got caught up in that. So I think what's really cool about this movie and what they got right was something called the gay gaze. And the main character, every time Burns is at a bar, especially towards the beginning where he's taking the role of a passive observer, the screen fills up with close-ups of men looking directly at us. eyeing us up and down, looking for a hanky in our pockets, desired, lusted, over cruised. The movie translates the equally transgressive and exciting language of the act and puts it on display on screen. I would have to agree because I've always been a fan of cruising bars, the New
Hmm.
York Eagle in particular, other parts of cruising bars around the world. I've always been drawn to it because, unlike other bars where they might be playing Britney, which I don't mind Britney, it's going to be a little bit darker. I love just donning a leather look, I love a darker look, and that gaze and that idea that when you gaze into somebody's eyes and you get that okay that they're interested and you go up to them, whether nowadays we don't use the hanky code like they did back then, which told people whether you were top, bottom, into water sports, and I could go on and on and on. Now we have to kind of back to communication. We
Oh
have to
yeah.
communicate. And I love a space like a cruise bar now that I go to all the time. And I will go up to people and I will communicate and I will get into what I'm into. And 9 times out of 10, it works. And we are playing out some of my deep, dark fantasies, or not even deep, dark, just hot fantasies.
Yeah.
And it's happening, but there's always been this level of shame that's been surrounded by that. We were talking to a
Yes.
friend of ours who listens to this show who shared with us that when he was dating his past boyfriend, his boyfriend would shame him for going to one of these type of cruising bars, saying, "Oh, you're going to one of those dirty bars or where this and that." And our friend said that, "No, this is what I like. This is what I'm into." And
Hmm.
now what's ironic is his ex-boyfriend now is going to the cruise bar that we're all talking about and is in somehow all that level of placing like dirty he's now into. So isn't it ironic?
You know what? I do think that that's extremely ironic, and I do think that a lot
Okay,
of
Atlantis. Isn't it?
it's
Sorry, we
like
won't go into it.
rain. None of that song is ironic, first and foremost. But and isn't that ironic? Okay, all right. So back on the topic at hand. I do think that there is a stigma that is placed on a lot of these bars that a lot of I don't know this. I don't know if the right word, the gays that really want to assimilate and be accepted by mainstream culture, that they place on us, me myself included, dirtier gays, quote unquote. And I think that that's really detrimental to being free with your sexuality. And I think that because I do think that there's a certain what's the word I'm looking for? I think that there's a
Freedom?
certain freedom. That is the word exactly. It was coming right out of my mouth. That comes from being in these bars and looking at being able to look at someone else and just be able to go and do whatever you need to do
It's
and
very
whatever you
primal, right?
whatever you want to do. Exactly. It's something that I think that a lot of men, especially, and
Like
hell, women
shut
as
down.
well. Exactly. It's something that they really do not take into consideration and really get in touch with. And I think that that's really sad, honestly. So we should be the one that's looking down on them and really trying to free them from their sexual shame, because I
Free
think
your
that's a huge
mind.
part of it, and the rest will follow.
And
We
not
are
for
just
nothing. I
go
know.
ahead. What are you
Not for
gonna
nothing,
say?
Cody. And I know that we were joking around about like we are doctors and this. We are not doctors, by the way. We're
We are
putting
not
that
doctors.
out there. But in our little like Halloween moment of being doctors, I have this feeling that when you free your mind, when you are free to not be ashamed of your sexuality. It's probably why I started the show 6 years ago. Is that, and I'm going out on a limb here, so
Okay,
please do not break this
I'm
limb.
ready.
That you actually free yourself from disease, because
Ooh.
those that I feel repress and hold in who they truly are, whether it's just being yourself, whether it's not expressing a fetish, whether it's not expressing what you really want, you're actually suppressing who you really are. And that, to me, in my mind, and I know it's controversial, can lead to disease. And I know
Yeah.
that's probably not, the best thing to put out there, but it's how I feel. And we're an opinion-based show. So
That's right.
that's how I
It's the
feel.
worst kind of disease, if you ask me. It's the one of the soul.
Yeah.
So I hear that. So yeah,
Yeah.
I
Anything
agree
you
with
want to
you.
read before I move on? Because we've only got 2 more topics.
Everybody's saying that they love the eagle,
Oh,
and
God.
yeah, they're calling us nurses, and I said that we are TV doctors. So that is,
Oh, I love that.
actually, we don't have an actual degree.
We're
We are
podcast
just-
doctors, but yeah.
Oh my God, yes.
Right?
There we go.
Okay.
Perfect.
We wanted to read this one Reddit thread. I think we have time for this,
Mhm.
right? The one that we were both agreeing on. Yes, Kodi?
Oh yes. Oh yes.
So this one caught my attention. There's an update on it, and well, I'll get to the update in a second. But a boyfriend essentially told his boyfriend says it's ridiculous to expect to talk about our days and share conversations every night. So essentially, they've been together for over a year, and it's almost been a point of contention that the boyfriend never once asked how my day was or seems that interested when I tried to tell him about my days. An example he gave was they went to the gym together, and I'll try and just tell him something about my day, like we really screwed up at work, we ran out of this, and instead of replying or asking a follow-up, he'll just start singing the song on the radio. What? He said it's because he's tired after work and just needs time to decompress. So I've tried just letting him sit and be quiet when he gets home, but the conversation is just not there. He's been trying something. He'll ask or we'll talk about what happened, but for the most part, we just never discuss our day or their lives. We've talked about it multiple times, and he just says he doesn't care about small talk. But to me, a partner should be interested in the day-to-day existence. We got into another huge fight, and it's because of the last few weeks. I've been going out while he's working and doing fun stuff. So the guy's been going to museums and so on and so forth. And the boyfriend never asked, like, hey, what did you do? How was it? He said it's ridiculous. And he said that he doesn't care about the how's your day type of conversation. Is it really? Am I expecting too much to expect my boyfriend to be interested? And before we go on, Kodi, there's an update. He says, we talked and it's over. So
Well, there it is.
So
we don't even have to say anything.
Yeah. And it should be over because I went out with somebody the other day, and they happened to have a job that I find really interesting, and I was like this, like listening to, because I was so interested in this particular job that this person does. And you know that we spent it was a 12-hour date. 12 hours.
Good for you.
And we had so much to talk about. A lot of it was the day-to-day but it was, I think what I do is kind of interesting, and I think what he does is really interesting. But we also talked about other stuff too. It wasn't just that too. I mean, you have to, let's just go back to communication. Can I say it in a more, y'all, we are in a communicative vessel here. You have to communicate. You're just gonna like grunt? I mean, come on now.
When you're having sex, it's okay. When you're not having sex,
I'm talking dirty. I want
talking.
them to talk dirty and grunt.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. You know what? Something that I have learned personally, because I am communicative when it comes to the day-to-day. I want to know how your day was. I want to know what's going on with you. I want to know that everything in your life is okay and what we should be as a team concerned about. The thing I'm not communicative about and that I am working on myself on is future plans. So I think that is something that should happen between in a partnership, that you should be able to talk to your partner about what you want out of life. And I find myself personally that I have been more cagey, a little bit secretive when it comes to my future plans, just because based on past experiences. So that's something that I'm trying to break myself out of right now. So
I hear
I
you,
hear
and
this. Go ahead. What were we going to say?
I hear you. And Jen watching us live has a good point that I think could be communicated in a relationship. Jen says, I understand a cool downtime. I need at least 10 to 15 minutes after I get home to just
Yeah.
get out of work mode. But after that time, I'm all about taking and getting a rundown of my partner's day. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
if you're not interested in what your partner's day was, why are you even
Why?
with them?
Why? Exactly.
Because do you not care that something, I mean, really,
Anything
I
could have
I do
happened.
this with you. I do this with my sister. My sister, we're here for 2 weeks, and we will be talking about, we work at this table that I'm sitting at right now,
Mhm.
and she's doing her work stuff, I'm doing my stuff, and you better believe that we are sharing our stories about what is going on in our day-to-day lives, and
Yeah.
I live for, this is what life is about. And but will we also take time to look at the sunset and look at, we're going to,
Aw.
we're going to go to, um we're going to do all kinds of fun stuff. But my point being is, and I have
Each
a
other's
point,
there.
is that, yeah, exactly. Well, I think, does somebody have one more point before we get to our final thirst trap moment?
Bryce says asking about someone's day is not small talk. Asking shows investment in who the other person is, and that is the way you should put it. That, and point blank period. Yes. If you're gone for
100%.
5 minutes, I need to know what happened on that 5-minute walk.
Oh, okay, Kodi.
I need the rundown, baby.
Well, it's time for our final segment, one of our favorite segments that's produced by Straight Up Gay Porn. And each week they ask the question, this week, out of these 14 gay porn stars, who took the best photo? And on an audio podcast, because that's how we distribute the show, essentially, it's our job to vividly describe, in a nutshell, why we picked the one. So it's 14 gay porn stars, you guys. And if you're listening to the show on replay, you can go to TAGSPodcast.com, reference 495, and you all vote at the end of it, because that's how this segment keeps going on and helps Straight Up Gay Porn continue this. So please, when you pick yours, vote. All right. Who did you pick, Kodi, and why?
So, first of all, this week there's so many hot guys and so many picks. Ricky
So
Roman.
many.
Oh my gosh. Alex Rosso and Chris Poppy XL. Oh my God. Whew. Okay, but my pick would be Wood Twink, and somebody just put it in the chat, and it's my boo. I mean, it's just fantastic. He has red hair, he has blue eyes, he's so adorable. He's laying on his back with his arms up and his legs in the air and a dick in his butthole. And who does not love a picture of a twink getting stuff like Thanksgiving dinner? It's just amazing. So, and he's all oiled up and just looking delicious, and there's no way I could not vote for him. So he's my favorite for this week. Who do you pick for this week, Steve?
Okay, so I had two. One of them was Parker, because Parker is sitting back on a gaming chair with a blue baseball cap on, taking a selfie in a mirror with his beautiful balls hanging low and his dick hanging to the right side. He's got beautiful nipples and great abs, but it's really these thick thighs and calves that he has that are just serving, and they're beautifully hairy.
Excuse me for a minute, I might have to go.
It's so sexy. I just want to grab and park myself below him and grab those thick thighs. But honestly, the one that really got my attention, that was my rent, that I'm going to vote right now, is Chris Poppy XL.
Yes,
And
he is hot.
Chris Poppy has this Latino perfect haircut. It's like edged out like you wouldn't believe. He's got a 5 o'clock shadow that's like coiffed and perfect. He's got a baseball jersey on that he's lifting up, and he's naked below, and this beautiful cock, and he's uncut, and it looks just ready to go. And he also has this look on his face that's like sexy. I often do a little research and looked him up, and his I might join his OnlyFans because it's that sexy. I'm voting right
Oh,
now. Chris Poppy, and where is he in the mix?
I think
Chris
he's like
Pop.
number 4, 3 or 4.
Yeah, I think you're right. Number 5, I believe. So yeah, Parker though is number 1, and he was my other vote. I didn't even
Oh,
realize that.
wow. Look at you having good
Hey,
taste. I
hey,
love
hey.
it.
Okay,
I love
y'all.
that for
Oh my
us.
goodness. Brandon says thick thighs save lives. Yup, I agree. Bryce says Woodwink for me, and I just followed Woodwink 2 days ago. He's a sweet and considerate top and bottom. Doug says Jake Peterson, love it. Jen says Wood Twink, that red hair, those pits, and that hole. Yum. Okay, I
Mhm.
love it. You can always follow my co-host Kodi on Instagram at Mr. Maurice, or his personal account at KMD Coaching. Excuse me, his life coaching, KMD Coaching. Follow me. I am _Steve V, especially while I'm here in Puerto Vallarta. Thanks,
Yes.
guys, for following us live. I'm wrapping up really quickly because we're almost going over time. And in the meantime, continue having hot, gay
Gay
sex.
sex.
Love you guys.
Love you guys.